Hi, welcome to Similar But Different, the podcast. Let's do that again. Okay. But I'm getting all the benefits.
Without having to pay.
Right.
Yeah, they screwed me. And then I found a bunch of friends that I was different from. I think I'd like the gram more if I got hit up in my DMs.
Okay, this should probably end. Hi, welcome to Similar But Different. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Ray.
How's it going?
It's good, because we just were talking.
I know. Do you like how I started talking as soon as you took a sip of water?
Yeah, I appreciated that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Felt like I had to rush it.
Yeah.
Really, really nice.
Considerate. Full transparency for the citizens. We're doing a double episode today. If you notice that our clothes are exactly the same. Well, Jen always wears this. Yeah. But yeah. We have
double-sewed
out of townage happening, so
yeah, I'm gonna go stay with my dad at the Riv.
Yeah,
my mom thinks she's just this partier, and she's gonna go on a trip with the girls to Myrtle Beach.
Fun.
So I was like, I'll go hang with Dad.
I've never been to Myrtle Beach.
No. Well, probably because
I've never been to Virginia Beach.
See, and this is now I know why. It's because beaches suck.
Yeah, we've always gone to the same beach in North Carolina.
So okay, or just you're bougie, so there's that.
Do you think is that bougie? I mean, I could understand like comparing it to Virginia Beach, but like Myrtle Beach.
No, it's probably not. I just was saying that. Like you have your spot.
I
have noticed that there's like a divide. So most people that I think are either like from the Virginia area or further south, they all go to North Carolina beaches or South Carolina
like Delaware,
beaches.
So.
Well, and I feel like that's people that are from the north, like either Northern Virginia up. They all go to like
where I'm from,
Bethany Beach. See, I don't know why. Then you are.
We like to play it fast and loose.
Yeah.
Now, granted, my parents had my brother in Richmond, so maybe and. Their first married life together was in North Carolina. So maybe that kind of
swayed it
here, and then they reluctantly moved to Northern Virginia for my dad's job.
Reluctantly.
Yeah.
I get that because Northern Virginia sucks.
Yeah.
Boo.
A friend of mine who lives in DC sent me an article that ranked DC as the most humid place in the United States.
Shit.
Which I'm like, yeah, come over here. Now, she has really bad allergies, and Richmond is like ranked #1 for worst pollen.
Oh, wow.
But you know what? The pollinating is a shorter period of time
than the
humidity.
Mm-hmm. Although we still have humidity.
We do. And to imagine that it could be worse just 2 hours from here is shocking.
Okay. I have to interrupt this, even though, yes, agree with that.
We have to interrupt this broadcast.
We have to interrupt this broadcast with an update. Just last episode, which was just 30 minutes ago, we talked about getting an ice maker, and I said it was going to show up after July 4th.
And it just arrived.
Oh, we just got the package, and it's here early.
And it's your nugget ice.
It's nugget ice. We are going to connect that bad boy up and be rolling with ice from here on out.
The next time I'm here to record, I expect a full cup of nugget ice.
It will be ready.
So does this have to live on your counter? That's my thing. I'm very protective of our counter space.
We got the portable one, and the plan is to keep it on the screened-in porch and see if it actually produces ice out there in the heat.
Okay.
If not, then we're going to put it in the garage.
Okay.
And then, and have that for us every day, and then when we have guests and stuff,
that seems
we'll have it somewhere
else. Seems convenient for guests.
Just move it anytime.
And you like to host, but that seems annoying for your daily ice needs.
I mean, we go out into the garage fridge for drinks most times, except not water, but all of our drinks are out there.
What you would use your ice for?
Yeah,
water.
Yeah, we might keep it inside in the house somewhere.
You're quickly changed. I am very much for me to use something, it needs to be convenient in my line of vision. And so that's how I feel, which really helps me and not over cluttering the home with things, because I'm if it's hidden in the back of the cabinet, I will forget that it exists. I will not use it. If it is clothing that I cannot see, I will not wear it. So I should only Yeah. And I do have clothes that I put away for I put my shorts away for summer, and then I'll bring up my sweaters and stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously I'm not going to put on a bulky sweater in June, so it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we have such a small kitchen that I wind up, and actually our fridge space too, I guess I should say that
You do not have a tiny fridge.
A kitchen. We have a small kitchen though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like a ton of stuff in my fridge. which is why we keep so much in the outside fridge.
Okay.
And freezer for that matter. But that's because we bought a half cow and
Oh, right. You're still working.
deer
Oh,
meat.
yeah. We haven't talked about the half cow.
So
the
much.
last time we talked about the half cow, this couch was in a different spot.
It was.
And we were like real time. You were navigating getting the half cow.
It was last year.
On the phone with Nathan.
Yeah. I remember. It was a whole scenario.
How much of the half cow have you gone through?
Not even a half of the half cow.
Okay.
I think we've gone through probably majority of the ground beef, but there's things that we haven't done yet, which, hey, citizens, if anybody knows what to do with certain cuts of meat.
Ooh, I bet Citizen Kyle will.
Oh, see, love this. So one of them is oxtail. It's not oxtail. I'm saying maybe it is. It's the ossobuco. That's what it's called.
Okay.
I keep saying oxtail. I think actually you can get that. That's a Spanish. Ossobuco. I'm probably not saying that right. But it's just like this circular cut of meat with the bone in the middle.
Okay.
And we
fancy.
we have 3 packs of that. I don't know what to do with it. So, like, I've looked stuff online and most of it has to do with putting it into, it's like an Italian thing that they recommend in the crock pot. But, like, I don't know. I don't want to ruin meat. So I'd like for someone to tell me what to do properly with the stuff.
And you like to cook, so.
Yes. Yeah. Summertime, I feel like I haven't been as into meat.
Yeah.
Red meat.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess that.
Other than burgers.
Yeah.
But for some reasons, like, I
can argue that steak is a fall winter meat.
I think I'm feeling that.
Yeah.
I'm there for that.
Chicken's a summer meat.
I'm leaning heavily into chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been leaning heavily into chicken. And
That's
salmon. And mahi.
Protein. I tend to only make salmon at home for myself, and that is just if I'm only cooking for myself, because Skylar really won't eat fish.
Oh, God, I love fish.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity. Well, I guess it's not an opportunity. It's a missed connection for me and fish. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's good. The half cow is great. Really glad with the purchase. I actually need to check in with Boogie because I think I sent her the information for the farm that I got the cow from, and so I don't know if she's going to do the same thing.
Yeah. But I would be into this if we had another freezer.
Yeah, it's you have to have it.
Yeah.
Because, well, you just can't do it without it.
I think I've maybe talked about this on the podcast before. But there was this like conversation that I was having with a group of friends. It's like, oh, when you were a kid, what was the thing that like if someone's house had it, you're like, oh wow, luxury living. Skylar's was if they had a second fridge in the garage. And I was like, we had one of those. And I think that's very funny. And it's hilarious. I think mine was probably like if you had a Power Wheel. Like one of those like life-size.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. So you're
luxury living.
So did you have that?
What?
If you went to someone's house and you're like, oh, they're crushing life. Like that's how you've made it.
I'm trying to think of what that, because like honestly, the thing that I always envied that people had at their house, it's not really have, is that their mom would make dinner. God, that's gonna sound so bad to my own mom.
Does sound sad.
She made dinner, and we always ate dinner together as a family. Yeah. But it was like, I'm gonna hurt her feelings. There's other foods that she does that are favorite meals that she does cook. Yeah. But oftentimes because of sports or because of like, so it's not her fault always. And so it was like Stouffer's meals were big in our family. Frozen dinners, the Schwann's. We've talked about
the truck, meat truck.
Normal. It's like that was a regular appearance at our house.
That's still cooking dinner.
Yeah,
I would say.
But I always thought when I would go to Big's house, and old Mama Biggs has got like homemade sweet tea or iced tea, even though she would buy me juicy juice because I would drink the juicy juice, and like a meal that's like just obviously home cooked.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because it wouldn't surprise me if you asked Lindsay and she was like, oh, yeah, I thought like Jen's family was like, I wanted to live there because they had Stouffer's mac and cheese, you know? Because for some people, it's
No, she
like,
knows her mom
oh, if
cooked.
you brought a Lunchable for
Oh, yeah.
lunch, that was like, hell yeah. And I'm like, that's so funny.
What? That's
Because
like the worst.
I know. And that's actually like cheap thing I can't make lunch
Yeah.
for my kid. I'm giving them a Lunchable. But like as a kid, you're like, hell yeah. And then it's funny because even like the second fridge, it's seen as like, whoa, you have two fridges. But like the garage fridge is like a rusted piece of crap that just still works.
Yep.
And is filled with meats.
Yep. Ours was actually just a freezer, an old freezer.
Yeah.
For all of the frozen stuff we'd buy at Schwann's.
And it's always just filled with drinks and meat.
Yeah.
But not
loved it's pure sugar and artificial flavors. But the frozen pops.
Yeah.
I always had those in the outdoor freezer, and I feel like that was
and
like
they come in like
clutch.
a pack of 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The big bag that you get. Loved those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
What are the things that people have at their house? Yeah.
But it's just like as a kid, you're like, oh, this is something I don't have. So I think it's the coolest thing.
Yeah. I liked basements a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't have a basement. One of our friends had a basement. It was like the coolest place to go.
Yeah. We had a basement, but it was unfinished. And so you couldn't like
go hang
It was
there.
just like filled boxes and Christmas decor. But yeah, friends who had a basement.
They'd
Or
made
like a ping pong table.
Oh, yes. Pool table, ping pong table, or foosball machine were like elite.
Yeah.
God. That's too funny. Oh, the things we value.
Well, totally unrelated. We said we were going to do a jar poll because we haven't done that in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. Here we go. Sharing salary information.
Oh, shit. We've talked about this in the original pod.
It does say -2, so I think, like, yeah, we had that conversation. Am I not? Okay. Well, you start.
Whew. Well, I feel like we definitely have a difference of thoughts here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary to share exact salaries. I do think it's valuable to share salary ranges.
Sure. But how big of a range is acceptable to you?
I mean, ideally if a company...
Because sometimes job listings are like, this position is $90,000 a year to $310,000 a year.
Yeah, that's not realistic. No, that would be unacceptable. I would imagine like your ranges for different like areas where people would be working at most could be a $75,000 gap. $50,000 to $75,000 gap,
yeah,
maybe.
That still seems high to me.
I don't know. I mean, I think that salaries can vary. Just because you are both doing the same job doesn't necessarily mean that you both should be paid the same amount.
And I do agree with that.
Oh, okay.
I think my thing is, if I need the company, I think the benefit, not sharing salary information, only benefits the employer. I think if the employer believes that they pay their employees fairly based on like experience and quality of work, then if you and I have the exact same job and you make $50,000 a year and I make $45,000 a year, I think it's on the company to be able to say, this is why Jen makes this and Rachel makes this.
Yeah.
But if it's just like, well, like if you don't have a reason, then it's like, okay, so the pay isn't equitable. Or like if you do the same, like if everything else is the same, like we live in the same place, we produce the same quality of work, we have the same job.
Yeah.
Then I think for the company, it's like, okay, well, Jen negotiated a higher salary for herself. And like that's a thing too.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Also, I don't know if like it's, I guess like how much do you weigh like being like, heh, Rachel didn't know how to negotiate as well, so we get to pay her less, even though we know she's worth more.
But are you worth more?
I'm saying, yeah. I'm worth what you're worth.
And that's your only argument? Is that you're worth what, like, someone else is worth? Like, how are you... So, like, apparently, in this example, I went in and proved a value prop that I bring or something that I do that deserves a high... Like, that's part of that negotiation.
Yeah.
I came in and I said, here are the things that I'm going to do that's above and beyond that I deserve this pay range. And if you don't come in and say those things, you're just like, I'm going to do the job. Okay, this is what the job pays.
What if I've already been at the job? Because it's like when you... it's so much easier to, like, make 20% more by just, like, getting a new job.
Oh, yeah.
Rather than, like, asking for a 20% raise in your current role. So if I have been in my role already at the company and you come in new on the team, but you have the exact same experience as me, but because they're like, yeah, we really need to fill this role, we're bringing in Jen, we're going to pay her 20% more, but we're not, when Rachel's review time comes, going to do that for her. They'll just be like, oh yeah, you're doing great, here's your 3%.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have, like, if you're not advocating for yourself in your current job to try to go after salaries, and when they tell you, nope, 3% is what you got, then, and you're not saying, okay, well, what do I need to do in order to get to this, or, like, whatever it is, like, I mean, it's not that person's fault who just got hired looking for a new job to get paid 20% more, and it's not necessarily the company's job to say, we're just going to raise your salary.
Right, but what if I, not knowing what you make, ask for that, but it is like 20-30% more, so that sounds like a very aggressive ask, and so they're just like, we'll give you 8.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not necessarily an aggressive ask if you've gone in and said, look, this is what I can get anywhere else, this is what, like, is a competitive salary for my job and what I'm doing, and here's why I think I deserve that. Then it's not like just saying, oh, 20 is too much.
Right. But then what's the harm in saying, yeah, this is how much this person makes versus this other person, if they feel confident in their ability to defend why someone makes more or less than someone else?
I think a lot of it is because of the sole reason that people will just say, so-and-so does my job and she gets paid this, so I should get paid that.
But that's on the company to then
do you really want to have to deal with that? Like, it's not... I don't know. I wouldn't want to deal with it as someone in HR. Like, I think I like the bands a lot. And you tell everybody what the bands are, and then I don't sit there and say, I hate my coworker Rachel because she makes $10,000 more than me and we do the exact same job. So
I can see
if
that.
I don't see her, and I'm now going to say that she's a poor performer because I think she should be doing more that's earned her $10,000 more than me, and she's not, so I'm going to give her negative reviews. Like, there's a lot of, like, negative things that can come of sharing
There's a lot of drama, which I'm not factoring into this, but does need to be factored in because it will happen. But I like your thing of, like, pay bands.
I love a pay band.
And I would probably put it within, like, $25,000. Because I honestly don't think if two people have the same qualifications, it's hard. Like, if you're like, I want a senior level person for this type of role, you, like, the company knows going in, we're willing to pay within this range.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
Yeah, I like that smaller. I think that's true, and I think that you have
100.
That.
Did you say like $100,000 to start? Because
75.
Okay.
Yeah,
that
like
still
max
seems high.
75. I feel like on average I would have it at 50.
Yeah, I even think 50. Did I say 50 or
you
did
said
I
25?
say 25? I think I'm.
We're
okay
both
with
gonna
50.
settle in the middle.
Yeah, we're both coming down. We've gotten to 50.
Boop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense too, especially if you have it separated by like a senior role, or it's not just like a regular and senior, or you have like tiered.
Yeah.
And if you have like multiple tiers, then those bands should be much smaller.
Yeah.
If you don't have it tiered, because that's the other thing too, is like I don't want to have to go into a management tier or become a manager in order to get a salary that's grown with me over time.
Right.
So in my mind, it's like, I want to actually, maybe I still want to be an individual contributor.
Yeah.
But I want to know that there's an opportunity for my salary to grow.
Yeah.
Not just the 2%. What are, like, you got to tell me, like, what that is.
Yeah. I actually think it could be motivating for people if they're like, because mostly it's just like, This is you like start as a junior analyst, then you become an analyst, then you become a senior analyst. And I'm like, cool. You're just changing my title, but like financially, if I know what that means and how that's going to change my life,
Yep.
that is what, because that could just be like, oh, you made $5,000 more a year in each of these things. And I'm like, that's not doing that much for me.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, I feel like they're also getting at the point, like you and I think both have talked about this, is that like I could give a fuck about a title.
Yeah.
A title doesn't mean fucking shit.
Right.
A title can sound as fancy as you want it to, but if you ain't getting paid.
Right. A title only is helpful to you if you're looking for other jobs.
Potentially, yeah. But it can also hurt you.
It can.
That's the other thing.
You can like bring it down depending on because they're like, oh no, she has too much experience.
Yeah.
She
was a director.
I have interviewed people being like, you have a title of director. Your title is going to be this. Does that bother you?
Yeah.
Like I've asked them in interviews.
Yeah.
But then it's sometimes like people are a director at a company of 6 people and they're just like, yeah, we wanted to inflate their ego. We couldn't pay them more. It's a company of 6.
Wild.
So
and now this person's like, I'm going to go get a director job at a corporate company with, Fortune 500 company.
Right. And then someone can be a director of XYZ and have no, what's the word I'm looking for? People underneath them.
Oh, direct reports.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or you can be a director and have 20 direct reports. And those are very different experiences. Different.
Yeah. That's why they're mind-blowing to me. When someone tells me their title, I'm like, I don't necessarily care about that. Tell me what you do.
Yeah.
Because the title doesn't tell me shit.
Right. Like a
half
project
the time
manager.
I have to go Google the title. Yeah, what the fuck is a project manager?
Right.
A product manager?
Right, exactly.
What do we do?
Right.
And if you Google it, there's a million different ways to define a product manager.
And you can make $45,000 a year, or you can make $300,000 a year.
Yep. It is widely different across all areas.
Yeah.
I like that, and that's my title for those who don't know. And it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Titles make no fucking sense.
I do think in recruiting, having a pay band is really helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Now, because especially like, I don't know, if I'm content in my current role, but I come across something that I'm like, I have all this experience and it pays 50 grand more, maybe I'm interested in pursuing that. Mm-hmm. But if not, then I'm like, well, I don't want to waste their time or my time, because sometimes they're like, well, we'll talk about it after the interview, blah blah blah. I'm like, no. Like, recruiters will reach out to me on LinkedIn and my first question is like, yeah, I do have this experience, what is the pay range?
Yeah,
because I do not want to schedule this 30-minute BS call with you to learn about the role for you to tell me it's less than I'm making now. Yep.
Which also I appreciate now. I feel like the recruiters on LinkedIn that reach out, they include the pay range.
Yeah.
In their like the starting salary or the whatever it is, base salary is X.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I'm going to follow up with that. Not going to even touch it.
Right. You know, I would like to have a recruiter on the pod. So if anyone here is actually, I'm an idiot. One of my best friends used to be a recruiter. So we're going to bring her on the pod because I find it very frustrating, like when recruiters just ghost people.
Oh.
Like, I've been in conversations with some that I'm like, okay, can you tell me XYZ? They respond like, yeah, this is kind of the gist, but can we schedule a call to talk about stuff? I'm like, okay, well, just so you know, this would be the pay range I'm looking for. And then they just don't say anything.
Ooh, yeah, fuck that.
And I'm like, at least just say, we're going to, like, just acknowledge.
Say,
like,
yeah, we
you
can't
went through
meet
the
that.
effort of, like, giving me your availability. I responded with mine. And just say, like, we can't meet that.
Yeah, that's annoying. I'd be okay if you even said, sorry, we found someone for the position,
yeah.
so we're no longer looking.
Like, I've been ghosted in, like, after a 3rd round interview.
Oh, that's annoying as fuck.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't love that. What a waste of time.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, recruiters, think about everybody else here.
Yeah.
You're not a guy on a Tinder app who's just going to ghost us after a little bit of a chat conversation.
Yeah.
Okay? This isn't, you can't ghost people in recruiting.
Yeah.
This is our lives.
Exactly.
Well, so is, but anyways.
Right. It's our financial lives.
Financial lives. Yeah.
So,
I like the idea of a recruiter.
How would you feel if, not in a workplace scenario, if a friend is just like, oh, how much do you make? Do you think that should be more normalized?
That's a good question. I don't love it because I think there's positives and negatives.
Sure.
Again, because I'll even say a scenario where at universities, public universities and
Oh,
stuff
your
like
salary's
that,
public.
you can see your
Or is it the exact salary, or is it similar, like,
No,
you're
it's-
a level 5?
it's their salaries.
Wow.
So you can tell which professors are paid the most money and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And
Yeah, so that already does happen a lot.
yeah, and I hated it because I'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like there were scenarios I remember, like when I was getting my graduate degree, where I was like, "Yes, that professor deserves to be top 5, top 10
Yeah.
salaries." Like, boom, that's amazing. And then there'd be another professor that'd be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? That's how much money they make?
Yeah.
That's bullshit. They are terrible." Like, how are they even like that? And then you go in and it's like, oh God, I have to listen to this guy who's just like, probably just getting through the day because he makes a fuck ton of money and just sitting
How
on
much
that.
does a, like, upper tier professor at you went to
William
William Mary for your graduate degree make?
I mean, they make more than $150,000-$200,000 at times.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was like, are like top ranked professors at top ranked universities making like 200 plus?
I think so. It has to do with like your tenure. A lot of that
Yeah.
that stuff is definitely like based on that. But yeah, tenure as well as I actually don't know some of the other like if you have a PhD or not. I think
I also want to understand tenure.
I don't understand
Like,
tenure.
you just get tenure and then you can never be fired? Like, I don't understand how that works.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Okay, so I want someone who understands that to also
Tell
be
us
on the
what
pod.
tenure is. Help me understand. In my mind, you make it long enough that no, because like if you fuck up, you should still be able to get fired.
Right.
This is well, I don't know. Tenure maybe applies to places that aren't trying to like make money off of your performance. I don't know.
But then it's like, is all you get with tenure just job
Stability?
security?
Yeah, security. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
That just seems risky to be like,
Wild.
you can never be fired. Because then I'm like,
Well,
okay,
you can be fired.
Or I just like, so now I have permission to like be less good at my job.
That's kind of how it seems. At least that's how it comes across. So I'd be curious as to people who know what tenure is
Okay, yeah.
to weigh on that. But yeah, I feel like I can see that similarly happening with my friends.
Yeah.
Like if I know how much you make, and I'll just use us as an example because like, you know, we Marco Polo. Like I know that if you work from home and if you were like, yeah, I'm making 500 grand a year, I'd be like, what the fuck is she doing?
Yeah.
She's on Polo 24/7 messaging me, and she's out taking walks in the day. And
You know what? I need to take breaks, Jen.
But like in my
Spoiler,
mind,
I make $500,000 a year. Gosh, that's what I'm manifesting on the pod.
I'm
allowed to take breaks, okay?
One day. But like I'm trying to think of like what I could potentially pick at.
Yeah.
And in reality, me personally, I do not care.
Yeah.
I could care less what people make. And I don't think I would judge my friends for how much they make. I'm trying to like bring it to that scenario
I don't
was
think
mentioning.
you consciously would.
Yeah.
But I think everyone unconsciously does.
Subconsciously.
Yeah, whatever one of those.
I don't think they're unconscious thinking about it.
I think they're dreaming it.
That was good.
I was like, yeah,
they're
not the same.
unconsciously thinking about it. I'm just kidding. Yes, you're right. Like
because people, you just like don't know someone's life. And so if all of a sudden you find out they make X more than you, even like a friend, and then they like complain because, oh, I got this thing happened with the house and we had to pay for this like flooding or something. And you're like, well, why are you complaining about it? You make blah, blah, blah.
Well, you don't know their financial situation. They could be terrible with money.
Exactly. But because you don't know everything, that's just like with how people operate in the world. You never know everything. Like when that person, I always do this thing that when someone is like speeding down 64 or cuts us off in traffic, I'm like, ugh, they probably have ice cream in the car. Like, and this just like this little joke that we make.
I love that.
But like you have no idea like why someone's being an asshole. You're like, you don't know, they just got a cancer diagnosis or they just won the lottery and that's why they're you just don't know.
You don't know.
But people take the facts that they do know and then try to paint a picture to like tell whatever story they want to tell.
Yes.
And so it's a struggle where I think like salary information should be less taboo, but I also that's like a big curve. Though I do think like if one of my closest friends, like if you were like, Rachel, how much do you make? I would tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I
would tell you.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, because we have like been at times like in similar roles, I could see myself. Yeah, because like I was doing product management for a period of time. Yeah. I could see myself being like, I'm trying to account for this. Our companies are of similar. What do you think I should? What was your trajectory? Like in a way for it to make sense to me.
Yeah.
Not just to be like, how much do you make? You know?
Yeah. No, I get that.
But then I also have friends who have always been very transparent about how much they make. And I love that because they're just like, yeah, I got this raise and I make this now and I'm really proud of myself and that's dope. And she's also one of my closest friends who I've known for 20 years, you know? So there's no...
Yeah, what is it anyway? Like, is it like a... Like, part of me thinks, and this goes back to, I feel like, what we mentioned earlier, like, women cannot be great towards other women. It's like, we suck at it. We need to be better. And part of me thinks it's a competition thing.
I do. Yeah, I think so. And I think it's like, how comfortable are you with in your life at the moment? Yeah. And as I said, like, I am very comfortable in my life, but it also makes sense that if I was to meet someone in like a similar stage of life in me and at work, and they like, I think we've kind of talked about this, and it's like, oh, if a person on my team at work at my level gets promoted to be a manager and have direct reports, I'm like, I don't actually have an interest in that. I like being an individual contributor, but it creates this like, should I want that? We've been on the same trajectory. Now is it like weird that I'm not leveling up in this way that you are? And so you kind of like compare yourself in that way. And I think it's because, and I don't know if you can relate, like as much as I'm like content, there is that like competitiveness in me that's like, oh, we're all leveling up now. Should I be doing that? Do people think I don't care?
Yeah, like I don't have that drive.
Like I'm like, oh, I want people to know that I'm not a manager because I don't want to be one. Not because I'm not good enough to be one. But then that also just comes back to like my own insecurities. Like I shouldn't care.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like super competitive in just about everything.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, I don't think I'm competitive about work.
Well, actually, no. I think I've been competitive at myself. I essentially like wanted to level up in my career to get to a certain point, and now I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel good about that.
Yeah, I feel like...
And you used to be like not competitive with your coworkers, but you were like, I want to like work and be an executive and all that kind of stuff. And now you're like, you know what? I'm good where I'm at.
Yeah, but that was because, and so that's kind of what I was thinking. I wasn't necessarily like trying to like, I don't think I'm competitive with my work, but like what I've always valued with work is driving value.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to look back, regardless of if it's going to get me a promotion or more money. Like, yes, I want more money, obviously, but I also want to earn it.
Jim, we'd like to offer you a raise. You know what? I'm good.
Yeah, right? No one will ever say that. But I like, I want to earn it. I want to feel like some type of value in myself. I get that with work, and like, I want to be working on super important things to a company, or I want to be like really, really helping customers. I want to be like doing something that I feel I can end work at the end of the day and know that like, yep, I'm doing something super valuable.
Yeah.
In my mind, I was young and I was like, yep, the way that you drive the most value is you're a CEO. Like those people, they have all the levers, pull all the strings. They're at the top of the food chain. They're the ones that you want to be. Yeah. So I was like, yep, that's my path. And then like meeting bosses, like we used to work for like two really badass women. or what you worked with them, I worked
Yeah.
for them. But
What? What do you mean you worked with them and I worked with them and you worked for them?
well, it was like they were my direct boss.
Oh, okay, understand. I was like,
But like, yeah, but you know who they are because
right.
we
You
worked
made
at
it
the same
sound
company.
like we were on the same level. Like I worked with them and I was like,
Oh,
no.
yeah, not
I
what
understand
meant, but
what
yeah.
you mean now. Like they were your manager.
Yeah, direct managers.
Yeah.
And I would always think to myself, yeah, they are fucking legit because
Yeah,
they were
they
pretty
were.
much running the company.
Yeah.
And so then that's when
Without the title.
Yeah, without that title. But I think that's when things started to change for me a little bit of like, you actually drive more value and I get more out of my work doing that.
Yeah.
And at one point
not
I thought,
having to deal with all the politics of being in the C-suite.
yes, exactly. And at one point I thought like, oh no, I'm going to have it. And this is I don't know how teachers do it. Or coaches for that matter. But one of my things was like going into a management role, the value I'm going to get is like helping these people succeed and drive value for the business and growing them on their career path. And then I realized, no, fuck that. I don't want to have to manage people.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be my job.
Right.
I'd rather influence people and get shit done.
Yeah.
So now things have shifted in my life and it's individual contributor all day.
Yeah. I like just being known as someone who provides value.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, we can have Rachel do this because she's gonna make sure it turns out good.
And I don't mind managing people's tasks, but I have no desire, which is kind of what you can do in like project and product management, because you're like kind of scoping out everything and like prioritizing things and being like, you need to work on this, you need to work on this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I have no desire in helping someone level up in their career.
Yeah, no.
And like talking to them about like their growth plans and what are they looking for in their role.
No, I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, I don't love that. I don't even like the other one too.
Right. But don't you do that?
Huh? What?
Don't you like manage engineers?
Yeah, but it's not like managing, and I'm totally getting rid of.
Oh, okay.
That is because I don't love that task. That's not product work.
Yeah.
It's project management. It's delivery management. You can call it a bunch of different things.
Right.
Like it's more of like I own this. Yeah, and I hate it. It's not product work. It's very much of like, this task needs to get done by this date. Here, we're going to organize it to be this. Yeah. It's like, no, fuck that. I don't want to spend my time doing that. It's miserable.
Yeah.
But I do it right now.
I
do currently.
Yeah.
I do that aspect of it. I just hate it.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I don't have to do that in my role anymore. But I like knowing that I don't like knowing that other people can't do that. But I like knowing that it's making other people's jobs easier.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I know people can come to me and be like, "Hey, I need this done," and it's gonna get fucking done.
Right, and I love like which sucks for them when people are so good at their job. Like there are like project and product managers that I go to with things because I'm like, I trust that you are gonna understand my description of how I would like this prioritized and fit it in with the other things and keep me updated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely more of like the project side. And you're going to
deal with like the engineers and I don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's...
And like people who are good at that, like...
My hip just popped like crazy. That was my hip.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, people that are good at that you can like rely on them. Yeah. I don't like that's not in my mind. Yeah, I don't like love the product. Like I don't think that's necessarily product work sometimes when it's just like,
yeah, it's more project work.
Yeah, and it's like,
but I do
come to me with a problem and I'll figure out a good way to try to solve the problem.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But don't come to me with a solution to a problem already that you just need packaged and put into the... I do that right now. I hate it. The ugly side of things. So, wait. So, taking it back, we think...
1 hop this time?
2 hops this time. Because this is our second time. Sharing salary information. It's kind of like a mixed bag right now. I think we like the idea of ranges, but not necessarily knowing exactly what they are.
Yeah.
Sounds like we might be more aligned, more similar than different here.
Yeah. I think there is benefits to pay transparency I think there are smart ways to go about that. And I think that's becoming more like there are some states where they're required to list pay ranges in like the job description.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
And I also think it helps people kind of like figure out where they want to go in life. Like there's this Instagram account I like called Salary Transparent Street, and they just do like street interviews with people, and they're like, what do you do? How long have you been doing it? How much do you make? And it's interesting because it's also like I'm a nail tech and I average like 90K a year. This is how I make money. And I think that's cool because people might be like, oh, I have a passion for that. And I didn't know like there's this way for me to make that money. Sorry. Or like people who work in certain trade jobs. It's like, oh, I started at this. Now I make this and I'm at my like full cap or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And like understanding.
Yeah, but also like you don't like I like the sound of that because you're also so far removed from those people. Like if I were to see someone that I work with that I think doesn't, whatever, and I find out that they're getting paid like a crap ton more than me, I'd be like, what the fuck, Fred?
Yeah, well, literally, I'm not going to get the exact backstory right, but the girl who created this channel is because she was like a web engineer, and she found out she was making $40,000 less than like her male counterpart for years, and just like accidentally found out. And she thought like she didn't know that was possible for her to do that, and so she was like, fuck this, like there should be more like industry-wide transparency into like what certain roles make. And then she created this whole thing and now makes hundreds of $1,000s a year through this channel, and that is cool.
Way to take that by the balls.
Yeah,
grab the bull by the balls is what they say.
What they say.
They don't say it like that. Sorry, my back is bothering me. I have to keep shifting.
It's okay.
Oh, I cannot sit back like that.
We can close it out. I feel like we've gotten all the
juiciness, the juicy juice out.
Yeah, juicy juice. Welch's grape.
Oh, God, that's what I used to drink.
I love grape juice.
It's so tasty.
Is there... I guess apple juice is juicy juice, but I'm like, apple and grape. What other juices besides orange juice?
Oh, no, cran apple, clutch, cran grape.
Okay, yeah. White grape.
White grape. Which...
These are all grape and apple adjacent.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I think that's most juicy juice has one of those bases.
Yeah.
There's a peach one too, I feel like.
Ooh.
Apple peachy.
I bet that's good.
I do love a peach.
I love a peach. I haven't had any peaches this season.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
I've gone through a couple jars of peaches and...
Oh, jars of peaches.
Oh, I just get the jars and I eat them straight out of the syrup, the sugary syrup.
Ugh, no,
and I will sometimes.
I didn't have my first peach. I didn't have my first peach until college.
Wow.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law makes the best peach cobbler in the world.
Ooh, okay.
And it's the best. Although it's really hard to say. She makes so many good desserts, so it's not like she's a one-trick pony. She's pretty impressive in the kitchen.
Well, Nathan's mom, feel free to make me a cobbler.
Next time I get a peach cobbler, I will.
Will you?
Maybe save you some.
Yeah, I was like, don't make promises you can't keep, Jen.
Yeah, we have to be careful what we say here.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'll hold me to it.
You know, the first podcast we recorded before this, I mentioned that the lemon snaps made my stomach hurt. It's gone.
And you want another?
No, I'm going to say no, but I'm just letting you know that
you thought about
the pain has subsided as we were talking about treats. Okay. Again, forgot to say this at the beginning. If you like this podcast, please leave us a review. It really helps us get discovered by people who don't know us, and we would love that, and we love you. So,
we love you.
Ta-ta, citizens.
Love you. Love ya.
Wow. Switching it up.
Putting a formal you on it. You.
That is intense. That is more intense than the casual.
It's like more serious.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, obviously. Harry Potter.